Today's Gym Girl Chat was someone who has been shaping the fitness industry and wellness space for over a decade, Emily Duncan. Emily is the founder and CEO of Phoenix Athletica, a high-level coaching company that blends science, soul, and strategy to help women transform their bodies and lives. With a BS in exercise science, certifications from Precision Nutrition and ISSN, and a background as a nationally qualified bikini competitor, she brings both academic knowledge and lived experience to her work. You might also know her as the host of Embody Radio, a podcast that's been running since 2017, where she dives into topics ranging from fitness to nutrition to mindset, spirituality, and personal development. Emily's approach is all about helping high-performing women break free from limiting beliefs and embody their happiest, healthiest, highest self. Recently, she's expanded her expertise into branding mentorship, guiding other coaches and entrepreneurs to build impactful, authentic brands that resonate and are rooted. That is the name of the business, if you did not get the little play on words there. And whether she is coaching clients, recording podcast episodes, or mentoring business owners, Emily is committed to fostering growth, authenticity, and empowerment. So let's dive in with Miss M. Dunk.
What an intro. Oh my God. I'm like, wow.
You're like, who is she?
Really though, really. What up, Subi? I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks
side note, we've known each other since 2017.
Bro.
Is that it?
Bro. Well, I think I want to say we met in 2016 at that Kentucky show. And then probably started developing more of a friendship in 2017.
Yeah. If you didn't know, I was a big fangirl of Emily before she knew I existed. I was just watching her on YouTube, and then I saw her where I was competing. She had recently competed, and we were in Kentucky, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Emily. I need to say hi.
And then that one time Gus peed on me when he met me because he was so excited. That was really good.
Yes, he only pees on the people. He's so happy.
Oh, I love it.
I know. It's so fun to see us come through the deck because literally, if that's 2016, that means we're almost a decade of friendship. That's crazy.
I feel like we should have a decade trip.
Yeah, we definitely should.
I think that's what we deserve.
Decades. Yeah, I think we deserve that for sure. I mean, I've never been to Tulum, and you speak highly of it. So just putting it in the universe.
I think the universe will respond to what we put into.
I think it should. Which, speaking of, because your birthday is coming up, and actually my first question is about you turning 30, which is crazy because I honestly always feel like you're older than me, but we're both turning 30 this year, which is just also crazy to say. But
I feel like so many baddies are turning 30 this year.
Well, then I also get confused because Des just turned 30 and a few other people just turned 30. And then I just assume everyone's my age. That's just in life in general. I assume everyone's my age. And then somebody just had a birthday and I was like, oh, must have been their 30th. And it was their 24th. And I was like, oh, never mind. I thought everyone was turning 30 this year. But I always have a lapse in my mind of what month your birthday is because we celebrated it a few years ago in a different month. And that's what I always associate when especially when those pictures come up on memories. I'm like, oh, Emily's birthday. And then I'm like, wait, it's in a completely different month than that when we did that. That was just when it was convenient for us.
Yep, we did it in July, which is totally great. Yeah. It was what it needed to be. But yep, it is in fact in a month, which is fucking crazy.
Literally, when we will be together annoying everyone on social media, and I absolutely cannot wait.
I'm so excited.
So since we're talking about birthdays, I wanted to talk about the plan that you had posted about and just going into your 30s. So I wanted to talk about how you put together that plan, especially how you wanted to look and feel going into 30.
Ooh, this is such a good question and such a great place to yap about it, because something that I think that not enough fitness professionals normalize, and I know you even started talking about it in your own way in your content, is we kind of fall off our stuff too, whether that's because life happened, whether it's we had internal health stuff going on, whether it was something entirely different. And so the end of 2024, the last 6 months was really just a humdinger for me, if you will. Personally, professionally, physically, all of that stuff. And I also started developing some gut issues. So all of that put together, I'm somebody whose body wears stress. You can see it, it's not a fun time. And so essentially I ended 2024 really exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. And I kind of just had to have got to have really a little reality check with myself of hey, this is not the direction that I want my life to be going. I feel slow. I feel sluggish. I don't like how I look in my clothes. I just don't like how I feel. And I was like, okay, sweet. let's do something about it. And I was like, my birthday's in May. It's my 30th birthday. I really want to start. I'm big on like temporal landmarks. So like I want to start the new decade feeling really good, and also like end this decade feeling really good, because no matter like how 2024 ended, my 20s were insane. Just like yours, like I started my business at 20, which is crazy. I did so much in my 20s. And so I really wanted to like not just come into a new space feeling really good, but honor all of the work that I did in my 20s by like feeling my best. So it's also been a really cool, as far as like planning it out, I think something that's different, you know, obviously you kind of mentioned in the intro, like coming from a competitor's background, it's so different kind of approaching a lifestyle cut. So essentially like for everybody that wanted to know what the goals were, I wanted to lose like 10, 15-ish pounds before my birthday, you know, tighten up, feel really strong and hot. We all love to be hot here, which is probably something we'll talk about. But I also wanted to like feel more capable. So not just get leaner and all that stuff, but I wanted to feel more athletic. I wanted to feel faster, all of these things. So like going into planning that, it was super easy, honestly, in my brain, especially coming from a competitor's background. I just do the thing of like, oh, how many weeks out am I from turning 30? Cool. If I want to lose like 10 to 15 pounds, cool. Give myself like 15 to 20 weeks to do it. And that'll like line me up really easily. So it was pretty simple, just in the sense of like, hey, because I'd been kind of going things alone for a little while, just trying to do my own shit. And as we all know, coaches need coaches. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to have somebody tell me what to do, because I spend all day telling other people what to do. I don't want to have to tell me what to do. I would like somebody else to tell me what to do. And then just kind of got to work. So it's been it sounds so anticlimactic, but it's just been like, cool. I went from training 3 days a week to training 4 days a week. I started gradually adding in cardio, gradually bringing calories down, all that stuff. So like on the fitness side, just super simple as it should be. But I think one of my favorite things about having a goal, whether it's been a prep or like in this case, like a lifestyle cut or whatever, especially a physical goal, I'm somebody that I am super like in my body. And so when I'm like making changes to my physical body, everything else in my life is going to change as a result. So like getting super clear on like, who do I want in my life going into my 30s? You know, what kind of standards do I want to set for myself going into my 30s? I think that was the biggest one, because especially too, like when you've been doing this for such a long time, whether this is fitness or business or whatever, you know, it can be easy to just kind of like want to cross your arms across your chest and be like, I don't want to have to work anymore. I don't want to have to try anymore. I don't want to have to do it anymore. But you do. Like you, no matter what, especially if you want to do more and be more, whether that's in fitness or in business or whatever. So getting really honest with myself about like, hey, no matter how hard the last 6 months of 2024 were, like you can blame it on circumstances. And you can also say like, hey, where did I drop the ball for myself? Where did I not have my standards high enough for myself? Whether that was in my own efforts, whether that was in the people that I let be in my life. So it's been just kind of like a full life and self reset where I'm going into, or I feel like I'm going into my 30s a lot more clear and a lot more, I don't want to say like exclusive is the right word, but like I'm definitely more boundaried. I'm like, oh, I don't need all of this. I'm like so willing to exclude things, whether that's behaviors, whether that's mindsets of my own, like, or other people's, whether that's like literally excluding people from my life. Like, no, I just don't need you. Like it's all love, but bye. I think it's just, to kind of end that very ping-ponged ramble. It's been a reset of standards going into a new decade, which I feel really excited about.
And here's a great affirmation. Hot girls have boundaries, and I am a hot girl.
That's fucking right.
That's all that there needs to be there. But within talking about how hard things were finishing up in 2024, and honestly, I love the word that you use, exclusive, because people aren't entitled to time with you or entitled to your personality. And I think far often we get way too caught up in people pleasing and just wanting to make as many people happy as possible. But it's also important to realize that you are people too, and your happiness matters within that. But because everything was so hard finishing up in 2024, obviously you talked about, yes, having a coach, cutting calories, adding in training. But what was the shift when it came from how much stress was going on to be able to shift things to be able to have that response in your body?
Oh my gosh. I really think it was saying no. to so much more. Like whether that is like a social event, whether that is, no, I'm not taking on this extra thing, or like one of my things is like in a business context, which is definitely a flaw that I have as a business owner, but like I will take on things that other people aren't doing right instead of like pushing them to do it right. And so not doing that anymore. So really just getting super clear on like, hey, where do I need to say no? And then where do I need to say no to my own, not even just limiting beliefs, but my own thought patterns, and just get like better at identifying them, because I'm somebody that I have a very natural tendency towards catastrophizing. So like if one thing goes like 10% wrong, my brain goes, oh my God, you're going to end up on the street. You're going to be poor. You're going to lose all your money. You and Chris and the dogs are not going to have a house. And it could literally be like the power went out. Like maybe not that small, but just kind of getting more aware of and boundaried even with my own thoughts of like, oh, I do this little thing now where if I like notice a thought that I don't want to have, or I don't want to have roots like start to come in, I'll literally just tell it no. I'll just be like, no. You're not allowed. Sorry. Like the door for you to come in is not open. And so being, a bit more prudent, even just with my own self, of noticing like, hey, your mind has a bias this way. You don't have to let that take root. You don't have to let that become your actual reality, but you will if you don't check it. So being more boundaried and exclusive with everything, including my own thoughts, I think that's been the biggest thing, and focusing instead of on the catastrophizing of like, okay, well, what can you do? So saying no to certain parts of myself so that I can say yes to the part of me that is very oriented around taking action and moving forward and growth and problem solving and all of that. But I think the biggest overarching theme of that is just saying no to more stuff.
I am actually, not to make it about me, but also in a season of no. And that was literally, I had a whole conversation with Alex last night of just, I need to say no more. And I honestly am pretty good at it because I am very protective of my schedule, but I find myself I always think that I can do something in less time than it actually takes. And I want to do the things. And that's where I have a disconnect, is like, oh, I want to do this, so I should. And even if it's work related, like it's not even like, oh, I want to go do this fun thing. It's like, I want this to happen with work. I want this to move forward. I want to take on these projects. But it is a whole other thing of, can those projects really succeed if they don't have your full attention? Are you able to succeed? Because that's kind of what it's been for me within wanting to lose weight and wanting to feel better, is that I was just saying yes to so many other things and so many other people. I was in turn saying no to myself. And once I came to that realization where it was like, oh, I don't give a F about saying yes to everyone else. If I am saying no to myself, then it became like a very strong of, you literally just need to say no more, because this isn't about what you can do for everyone else, because also you can't do those things if you're not pouring into yourself. Like you are just, I feel like society has made it that women are going to be just exhausted and going to be tired, and that's just how things are going to be. But I am a big believer, like the best version of yourself is the one that is going to bring the most joy, that is going to be living a life that you feel the most aligned with and that you love the absolute most. And like you said, of not taking these thoughts that you have, whether they're your own or other people's or society's or social media's, not taking those as truth. Because I think what you said was so powerful about when a thought comes in of you just telling it no. I used to think like every thought basically had to stay. And it's like, it's so freeing to realize like, just because I have a thought doesn't mean that that's truly how I feel about something. It doesn't mean that it holds ground. I can literally just dismiss it and be like, you can't sit here right now.
You can't sit with us.
Exactly.
But like another thing too, I think, to kind of wrap that up, is like another thing that I kind of went into this year with that you're, I think, kind of talking about here too, is like I had to tell myself, especially as somebody that wants to do so many things also, of like, you have to be more narrow. Like I had to really narrow the focus that I was putting on all of the different things in my life. And like, as coaches, we see it all the time with people in their fitness goals. They're like, well, I want to get shredded and build the fattest butt you've ever seen, like all at the same time. And it's like, sometimes, most of the time, if you want to do something really, really well, you've got to focus on like that one thing somewhat singularly for a while and then shift focus. So that's another kind of mindset that I've tried adopting more of this year, where it's like, okay, cool. Like Q1, we're really going to focus on this and like my fitness and my business and my personal development. Sweet. Q2, here's what we're going to do so that I can do the things that I want to do well and have the space to do all of them, or like the ones that are the most important to me.
So it also doesn't feel finite of like, I'm not saying no to this, I'm just saying not yet. And that can also just help within our brain of not having to have that finality to it and recognizing like it's still open. I can still go back to it. It's just like a not right now type of thing.
Absolutely.
What is something that people assume about you because you lift, but couldn't be further from the truth?
Probably that this is going to sound so cliche, but probably that I just like quote unquote eat healthy food all the time. And one of the things that like I hosted a retreat and the friend that I hosted it with, she was like, you and Chris just like love your junk food. And I'm like, hell yeah, brother. I sure do. Like not like I do love like a good like siete chip or, you know, whatever, where it's like you make the junk food or whatever, like healthier. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, no, I love my garbage person food sometimes. Like, it's just fun, you know? It's like, get a girl that can do both. So I think people would assume that like, oh, you like never, like you, if you have junk food, it's only like the healthy version of the junk food. And I'm like, no, just give me the real thing.
You haven't seen us. Truly. I think that people would be quite shocked to just see us in the most natural habitat. Where it's also funny because it's like we do share and we have shared our lives online for a decade very candidly. Like within knowing you personally as a friend, like what you share on social media is real. Like it's not by saying like people would be surprised because they don't know us, but it is of not that social media is just a highlight reel, but it truly is of like we talk about with focus, you have to have a focus on how you post about things, how you talk about stuff. And so it's kind of like that aspect of when I am in those times, I'm not normally having my camera out, not because of guilt or anything like that, but like that's just personal time that I'm taking to go and do that thing or spend time with people. And I don't feel, and I know you're very similar, I don't feel the need to be like, hey, look what I eat to also prove that either this is how my body looks or I'm like a pick me of like, I'm cool too, I still eat this food. It's kind of like that's just part of my life and I've normalized it. And so it is funny when you're out in the wild and you are eating something and someone's like, oh, I didn't know you ate like that. And it's always like, yeah, duh. Like, that's just my life.
And yeah, and you just like glitch for a second. You're like, oh, wait, yeah, people wouldn't expect this. And like, I don't know if you experience this at all, but I feel like it's almost like an evolution of being somebody that's been a content creator for so long. Like you've been in it for, I think, just about as long as I have. And it's like, I feel like I went through this thing where I did show every single, like, let's just take the food thing. Like, oh my God, like, here's my full day of eating. And then like, because you eat so healthy, you know, throughout the week or quote unquote healthy or whatever that means to anybody, that you like also have to show when you're eating like a pizza or ice cream or whatever to just prove to people that you're balanced. And now I'm almost like, I probably should show people more about what I do because I'm just existing now and I don't feel the need to like show it to anybody the way that I did before. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm just kind of existing virtually now.
I'm just a human being and doing. But it's also funny because it brings back like people's perception of like fitness or like perception of you of like you are a health coach, you are a fitness coach. So you like follow these certain rules or these things aren't allowed for you, where that always catches me off guard, where people be like, because I mean, most people know at this point, I freaking love French fries and I love tortilla chips. And if I can eat them,
French fry
like,
and
like a potato, honestly, of any kind, a hash brown, a French fry, I don't discriminate the type of French fries. I do have a favorite, but like, I'm not going to turn a French fry down. And
what's your favorite?
I do like a more shoestring type of thing. But again, I will go any which way. I'm really not that picky when it comes to French fries. I just, not even shoestring, just like a little bit thinner with like a more crisp on it altogether. But people see me like eating fries and they'll be like, oh, you can eat that or you eat that. And I'm always just like, yeah, don't you? But
No,
it's
why
just
not?
like that, like you're living in your own life that you forget these perceptions other people have about either fitness or you. And it's always so interesting to kind of bring that back to the surface, especially when you're around
Mhm.
people that aren't in the fitness industry, where I know both
Right.
you and I do spend a lot of time around people that are doing the same thing as us, which is good because the environment is very powerful. But it's also fun when you do go out into the real world and you're like, oh, this is how the other side lives.
Yep, and you're like, "Well, I guess that this is a thing that I didn't realize was a thing."
hmm What would you say is some of your favorite habits or routine that you have in place right now?
Ooh. Definitely my favorite one is, and I've been doing this for a while, but having dogs, you're like, oh, this is an activity hack because I have to walk the dog. But one of my favorite things is I'll do silent walks with Luna in the morning. And then, like, once it's warmer, Chris and Roku will come out with me. But essentially, I'm like, I'm not going to have a podcast on. I'm not going to have any music on. I treat it almost like a meditation. I have a really hard time just like sitting and meditating because I am a squirrel in my
hmm
brain and in my body. So I'm like, oh, I got to move and do stuff. But just being outside with her, having it be quiet. It's like early in the morning. So it's just like, especially now that it's spring, birds chirping and this and that. So it's just a very kind of meditative experience. And I used to just write my gratitude list down, but now, like, while I'm out on my walk, I'll say them out loud. And if anybody in my neighborhood is like around, they're probably like, why is she just talking to herself on this walk? Is she good? But I would say that's one of my favorite routines because it's just like, especially to being chronically online for the last 10, 12 years, it's like I forget pretty easily how much time I spend on a screen because it's just like what we do with our day. But then I realize I'm like, oh, this is some of like the only time that I get to spend outside without my screen and all of that. So again, it's been super meditative and it's been really, really good for just like my dopamine regulation. That's actually why I started doing it a couple years ago. So I would say that is definitely my top favorite routine. Yeah, I think that's the top one. That's the top one that I got.
And, little life hack, even if I'm not listening to something, I'll still have headphones on. So if I am talking to myself or whatever, then people just think that I'm on the phone.
That's smart. See, I'm just like, I just look like the insane girl.
Yeah.
And actually, no, oh my God, what's great about this too is I have on my weighted vest. So literally, here's just me. I'm out here with this like bulletproof looking vest. I have this giant wolf dog with me, and I'm just me, 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 me,
Just
me, me.
talking to
People are like,
myself.
I'm just surprised I haven't ended up in the neighborhood Facebook
I
group
know.
yet. I'm like, who is
Alex
this
and I are
girl?
convinced that people probably only know, like, we know a few people in the neighborhood, but we don't know a ton of them. And we are convinced that they're literally like see us outside walking at all hours of the day. And they're just are making their own stories of like, what is their job that they're able to walk at the most insane time intervals throughout the day? Why are they always out there with their big old dogs or like bundled up when it's like
Mhm.
20 below? And we're just like, we're probably just the people that they're like, oh, that couple's on a walk again, or there they are outside again.
We
And I'm
got
like,
the walkers back
yes.
out.
I'm like, I'm sure they know of us. They might just not know who we actually are.
I love it.
So, what is a habit that you've wanted to implement, but you haven't yet?
See, and now that I'm almost 30, I feel like this is no longer it's a non-negotiable now. It's for sure mobility and yoga. Like, it's the one that I'm always like so gung-ho about, and then I'll do it for like 3 days and then I've had a hard time getting the habit to stick. But I grew up my whole life dancing, and it was one of those things where like, oh, and I went from like dancing as a teenager, and then I would like do yoga in my early 20s. I'm like, oh yeah, my flexibility carries over. Like, it's totally fine. I feel really good. It'll never go away. And then like you don't do it for a few years and you're almost 30 and you're like, oh my God, I can barely touch my toes anymore. Like, because my hamstrings are so tight, or like this, that. So I would definitely say like more mobility, more yoga, and especially the stuff that is just like more restorative movement where there isn't meant to really be like an intensity component. I would say that's one for me. And again, especially like going into my 30s, I've noticed and I don't know if you've noticed this at all too, but I'm like, oh, like, it's a lot easier for me to like tweak my back or to just like feel stiff walking around more. And I don't like feeling stiff. I like feeling very supple and mobile. We just
Yeah.
talked about mobility, mobile. But I would say that's one of them. And it's one of those things where like, I feel like I'm like, I feel like I maybe need to go to a class because I don't want to just do it at home, but then I hate leaving the house. So like I talk myself out of it
Honestly,
in 87 different ways.
I bet our internal monologues would be besties the same way that we are probably. It lines up. But I'm in the same boat when it comes to like, I should go someplace, but I don't want to leave the house ever. But I was literally about to say that the way that I have stayed with it, and I haven't been perfect about yoga recently, but truly going to yoga like once a week or once every other week, because I know myself, I'm not going to stretch on my own. Like I'm just not. I literally know that about myself. So my hack is just I'm going to pay to go someplace. So then I literally can't not go. Like it's just about learning about yourself and your tendencies.
We need the buy-in.
Yes. You just need to figure out what the buy-in is for you. And instead of being like, I'm just the person that doesn't stretch, it's like, I'm the person who doesn't stretch and doesn't leave her house, but I just paid $20. So I'm going to get freaking to that class right now because I already committed to it.
I will get my $20 of stretch.
I will get my $20 worth. Now, the worst is when you start to talk yourself out of that $20 and you're like, well, would that be saving me money? And then that's a whole different conversation. But as of right now, I'm not a home stretcher. I'll do warm-ups like before I train and be able to do mobility that way. But when it comes to like stretching at home, I'm just absolutely horrid with it. So I need like a guy, because even if I try to follow something on YouTube, I'll get distracted. I'm looking at something else. And like in the class without my phone is like the time that I can just be like, I'm here.
Yes. And see, my other toxic trait is I'm like, okay, well, Emily, you have to prove to yourself that you're going to actually go to the classes consistently if you go. So like maybe you need to be able to do it at home consistently for like a month, blah, 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 blah. And then that doesn't happen.
And then you're like, let me buy the nicest mat. So then I feel the best about it. And then the mat just sits there and collects dust. And you're like, well, what if I bought something else that made me want to do it even more?
What if I made a cute little corner where it would be nice for me to go and do it? And then the corner just collects dust.
Yes. There's so many possibilities we could talk ourselves in and out of. I feel like I have a very good talent of talking myself out of almost anything. I can do it easily.
Same. Mm-hmm. Oh, same. And then once I have decided, here's the other kicker. Once I have decided that something is not for me, like that I'm not doing it, that I don't want to be part of this thing or like whatever, unfortunately, I'm gone. Like you can't bring me back. I have made the decision. I am sticking to it. Like you could not convince me otherwise, unfortunately. So I like to see it as committing to the bit. Mm-hmm. So once I'm committed to the bit, I'm always
committing to some type of bit. Like sometimes I don't even know what the bit is, but I'm committed to it and I'm all in on it. Sometimes
who am I to expect to know what the bit is at any given moment? I'm trusting the bit. Currently, I had to stop a bit that I was just doing in the regard that I was making the bit that Alex was my biggest hater. And he didn't like that. For me, that's not a bit. Chris is such a hater.
Because I would be like, oh, guy, I'm not going to do this thing or whatever. And he'd be like, you can do it, honey, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, if you're going to be standing against me, like after he's actively encouraging me, but he got pretty frustrated where he was like, why are you always acting like I'm the one holding you back or whatever? Because I'd be like, I'll prove you wrong. And he's like, I'm literally encouraging you to do it. And so I had to stop that bit because he was getting pretty frustrated about it. But I was having a good time with assuming that he was my biggest hater. Because it was really motivating me to prove him wrong. Yeah.
See, Chris is my biggest hater in all of the right ways. So like he only quote unquote hates on things that are true. Mm-hmm. Like I'm really bad at loading the dishwasher or even like he's so good at tough love with me of like, Emily, you do need to narrow your focus because you're trying to do too many things at one time. Or like, Emily, you're not holding people accountable enough and that's why things aren't getting done. And I'm like, damn it, you're right. And so he is the hater in the correct way. Unfortunately, don't you hate it when they're right and when they want your best interest in mind? Having a partner that sees you very clearly and just wants you to succeed.
I'm sure this happens between you two, but there will be times where like either one of us says something and then the other, like the same person who just said it, then says what the other person would say because they're like, I already know it's coming. Like I know what the next thing you're going to say is, and we're always like, oh, it's kind of like you know me, and it's like, yeah, At this point, I freaking do know you.
Yep. You're like, well, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, there is no hiding here.
There's
So I guess
literally
we just
no
got to get to the
hiding.
point.
You've seen everything.
I fear.
Low reps is best.
High reps is best.
Fruit is so
It's
good for
terrible
you. You
for
should
you.
lift heavy.
High reps,
Carbs
low
are
weight.
needed.
Keto
Squats
for
are
life.
bad for your
Squats are
knees.
great
You
for your
should
knees.
squat ass to
Knees over
grass.
toes.
It's fine. It fits my
Macros is for
macros.
idiots.
When there are so many mixed messages going around, it's hard to know what you should even do or focus on. But that's exactly where physique development one-on-one coaching comes in. You might have heard of online coaching or even hired a coach before, but we believe in teaching you the why behind what we do while truly taking your life into consideration. We want to train, educate, and empower you to reach your goals and help you to stop spinning your wheels and just finally feel good. And hey, we're here to help you look good too. You need you. Your health is your wealth. So join Physique Development and let us be the last coach you ever need. So within trying to lose weight, obviously for your 30th, but do you ever feel the pressure to look the part as someone who lifts and is a fitness coach? And how do you handle that, especially with being chronically online?
So I think for me, the biggest thing, especially too, like for anybody that's not familiar with like any of my journey or like where I've been in a lot of different bodies online. So I've obviously been super shredded as a competitor. And then I was one of the people that like got very oddly sick from having implants. So like I went from being 130 pounds and shredded to like over 200 pounds, super inflamed, super puffy, all of that stuff. Like, and then just kind of everywhere in between, like very publicly, right? So I've been in a lot of different forms, gotten a lot of different feedback on whatever form I take from strangers, and whether that's face, body, clothes, how my voice sounds, whatever. And so I think for me, what I was able to arrive at more in like my like later 20s is I feel less, if I'm like super honest with myself, I feel less quote unquote pressure from the industry, especially in like a negative way. Maybe this is just because I don't give a shit. But I feel less pressure from like externals and more pressure from myself in like a positive pressure way of like, oh, because I think too, like it's so easy to just kind of be like, oh, well, this is just a standard that like the industry puts on me or that this thing puts on me or whatever, instead of just owning like, no, I would actually like to look really good for myself. And like, I get to decide what that is. Or even too, like, and I know we have very like similar views on this, like having a jacked, hot, attractive partner. I'm like, well, you know what? I got to keep up. His genes are going to do way better than mine. So like we gotta keep up with this. But I think the biggest thing, yeah, for me, all jokes aside, is like just honoring within myself that I want to look a certain way for myself. And so I think what has been cool as like, especially going from a competitor and then the fitness industry, who like the kind of archetype of what the quote unquote goal body at the time is always changing, is what I want for myself doesn't necessarily look like any of those things. It's just where I feel my best. So it's like this combination of like leanness and some curves and some athleticism and all of that stuff. So I would say any of the pressure that I feel on how I want to look comes from myself, and it feels like a positive pressure now and something that I am the kind of arbiter of versus it coming from an external, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like even if someone is feeling it from the external, that would be a great reframe of, again, what do you personally want out of this to be able to use that to your advantage? Because I have obviously a lot of thoughts on this altogether, because there's people that are visibly out of shape that are so smart when it comes to fitness, like so intelligent. And so like your physique really doesn't determine how intelligent you are, because we've also seen the people that are just like Insta models, for lack of a better word, or fitspos that look really great, but have no idea on earth what they are talking about. And people get really caught up, like the general public gets really caught up in, if you look a certain way, then you are qualified. And so I feel like I take that in personally of like, yes, I want to look a certain way, but also recognizing that even if I were to be the smartest in the whole entire world, but I didn't fit within a certain standard, even if it's my own standard, that people aren't going to take me as seriously. And so I don't take that again as a negative. Like you said, it's just, I am in the fitness industry. People are going to take my looks first into consideration, even if that is not the most important thing. And so it's kind of like an extra layer of accountability for me to look a certain way. But again, it's reinforced by what I truly want. Because the whole reason I even got into the fitness industry was I wanted to look a certain way. Like it wasn't about my health. It wasn't about any of that. It was literally, I started just because I hated the way that I looked. It was all about hating how I looked, how I felt. It wasn't about I need to get the healthiest. It was I want to look good in my clothes. I want to look good naked. I want to feel better about myself. And yes, of course, it's morphed into a lot more when it comes to my internal, my emotional health, my physical health. But truly still at the core of it, like you said, I just want to be hot. Like at the end of the day, I want to be hot. I want to be known as Alex's hot wife. I want to be known as like, that is just the girl, like Sue is hot. Like that is what I want for myself. And so I feel like that's something where people also have a hard time stating that because I think it makes them feel like too full of themselves, or it's like, oh, this should be about health. And it's like, let's look back to almost where everyone started. Most people started because of the way that they looked. And so most people starting now isn't just like, I want to be healthy, even though that might be part of it. It's, I want to look a certain way. Because I can tell you personally from working with clients, as well as just me personally, it weighs way heavier on you if you are looking in the mirror every day, hating what you see. Even if you feel horrible, it's so much easier to do it in a body that looks better. Like, because there have been times when I have been like, let's talk about prep, where we've been at the extreme where we don't feel good or feel healthy in our body, but it's so much easier to wake up every day when you look a certain way, but it is not the same on the opposite side. And so that's something where I have stopped shying away from like, oh, it shouldn't just be about how you look. It's like, it's fine if it is.
Right. Like it can be about all of it. I think that's what gets so lost in that conversation. And like, I don't know how controversial you guys get on the Physique Development podcast, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of people, if you asked them, hey, if I could snap my fingers and you would look the way that you wanted to look, would you do it? They would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
They would say yes. And I don't necessarily think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I think maybe sometimes the assumption that gets made, especially when a woman, if we want to go down that rabbit hole, like if a man wants to have like a six pack and be hot and shredded and whatever, they're like, you go, bro. But when it's a woman, it's like, oh, you're superficial. Oh, that's all you care about. Oh, you don't have any depth. And I think if that is all that you care about, like if you're sacrificing the rest of your life and your whole personality for sake of looking a certain way, sure, that's a problem. But God forbid a girl wants to be multidimensional and be smart and hot and rich and successful and like all of the things. And so destigmatizing women wanting to be hot, like you are so allowed. And like once I started getting a little louder about that, I've gotten even like just more and more messages of like, dude, I'm so glad you're saying this because like, yes, I do in fact want that. And I'm tired of feeling like shamed by other people for wanting that, like, especially when I'm still a good person. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person.
No, it does not make you, it also doesn't make you a good person to want less. Like, precisely. I feel like that is what we associate is like you wanting less and like not wanting more makes you a better person. And that's even something I've struggled with within, whether it's morality or even just something like finances of like, oh, wanting more makes you a worse person. And it's like, no, it also wanting less doesn't make you a better person. And it's coming to those because I feel like for myself, by not outwardly saying that like I wanted to be hot or I wanted to look a certain way, I was reinforcing internally that I couldn't have that. And then any other things that people were saying that reinforced that truth were then just reinforcing that truth tenfold down, whatever was already happening in my head. And I wasn't even allowing myself to reach whatever level I was at that time. And that is so crazy to think about of not only how much our mind goes into it, but just like truthfully saying something out loud, deciding you want something instead of just being like, oh, that can't be me. Where that was always what I felt like, that just can't be me. Like I'm not going to be the cool girl. I'm not going to be the hot girl. And I kind of, and this is even like, this is prevalent back in my life as well as currently of I tried to be like the in-between of like, well, I can't be the hottest version, so I'll be hot for this version so that it still like has that bridge of like, oh, for like a nerdy girl, you're hot type of thing of like, instead of just like, no, I can be full on hot and I can be the smart girl and I can be this girl. Like it truly is. Same with emotions, with us even talking about emotions and different things is like, it doesn't have to be one emotion that's happening. Like you can feel multiple emotions at the same time. time. And I think that we try to put ourselves into boxes in that sense instead of just being like, I'm freaking here, motherfuckers.
I'm here. I'm all of these things. I'm allowed to want to be all of these things. And I think that's kind of like the point too, because I think so many of the people that are like kind of taking the moral high ground of like, oh, this doesn't matter to me. Like, okay, cool. Like if we're over here in like hot girl land and you're over there in whatever land you're in, we're like cheering you on. We want you to do whatever it is that you want to do and be whatever it is that you want to be. And like, we're not judging you for wanting to be that. So it's like, why judge us for wanting to be what we want to be? I just think it's really silly.
Yeah, because I feel like it's just looked at as vain, like you said earlier. Like it's looked at as vanity and vain, and it doesn't add anything. But I think that if it adds to your confidence and it adds to what feels aligned with you, then what isn't it adding to you?
Well, and too, like, if we think about kind of like you were saying, in the fitness industry, it is like a form of accountability. And I think in really any industry, and people might like get their panties in a twist about this, but this is like the reality of human nature. And we actually have science and like data on the fact that people trust attractive people more.
I was like, if you're not going there, I'm about to go there because
we're
there
gonna
is
go
literal
there. And it's
research
like
on
people,
it.
no matter what they're quote unquote buying, whether it's just following somebody, whether it's listening to them, whether it's trusting them, whether it's buying a physical product or a service or whatever, people buy with their eyes first, or people even listen with their eyes first and their quote unquote ears second. So it's like, okay, cool. If you're somebody out there that has like this really soul-led mission, you're trying to make a positive difference in the world, all of that stuff, and you can get people to listen to you more because you take better care of yourself and you are a more attractive person, like, great. You're going to be able to make more positive impact in the world than like some old, ugly, middle-aged white guy that's doing horrendous shit with his money. Like it's your responsibility to be hot now.
It
like,
literally is your
for the
responsibility to
collective.
be hot. Well, you made a TikTok recently of just like any privilege that you have or benefit that you have, use it. And that's something where even like I've been open, so I'm not weird about talking about my teeth. Like I've had a lot of work done on my teeth. Like even before I got veneers, like I just had a fucked up mouth. So like I had so much surgery, and by the time I got done with having jaw surgery, having so many different contraptions in my mouth, that's what she said, then I was just like, I want to love my teeth. And I got veneers and literally talked to the dentist about being able to write it off for taxes, because literally he was telling me, he was like, people trust people with a better smile. People trust people that are more attractive, and that you are used in your marketing constantly. This is something that is like bettering your life. And as much as you want to act like it's not real, I think that's the other thing, is people want to hope that that's not the case. They want to be like, no, people are going to buy because it's the best product. People are going to buy because I talk about it the best and I have the most information. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, but that's not how life works. So why not play the game that's being played? Like if I can have a benefit with that and look a certain way, then why not play that if that is going to get me to where I want to go? Like whether I wish that it was the truth or not, it's like it is. So why not play it?
Dude, I love that phrase too. Like just the concept of like, hey, we're all playing a game, especially in like business, but really in anything in life. Like life is a game, and you can want to fight that and resist it and all of that. And sure, you can work to change it. But I also think part of how we change it is by being in it versus outside of it. It's way easy to change something from the inside than it is from the outside. And again, I think a lot of this is just like human nature. It's just how we're biologically wired. So like put your jersey on or get off the field, sis. Like we got shit to do.
Yeah. And I think that people might claim something like it's not fair or I wish it was different. But even going back to the beginning of the episode of talking about like somebody might think of like, oh, I wish I didn't have to work as much anymore. Like the only thing you're entitled to is the work itself. I feel like we have gotten to a level of entitlement and of like feeling like we're owed something of like, I put effort in, I deserve all of this. And it's like, no. You literally deserve nothing. Like there's nothing that you are inherently entitled to per se. And once you accept that, then it's also like, it's the aspect of also realizing things are going to be hard. Like if people always think things are going to be easy, then every time they hit something hard, it's like, why is everything so hard? But I think you and I live life of like, I expect things to be hard and I expect me to maybe not get the results that I want from it or what I wish were happen or what I feel like is expected out of my effort. Because if it was just effort that got us what we wanted, like, I mean, I'd have it tenfold at this point. Like I would already have it, but it's being able to, again, reframe your mind of like, I literally am not entitled to that. I'm just entitled to the work itself.
Absolutely. That was such a good one-liner. And like something that I've kind of like tried to start training my brain to think of, especially like being online and being in business as long as we have. Like Phoenix turns 10 in December, which is insane. But it's really easy for me to sink into that place, or it would be really easy for me to sink into that place of like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I deserve better, or like I should be getting more just because I've existed doing this thing for this long, or blah, 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 whatever. And so instead, especially in the game of like business and social media, I feel like this is super true. Just like telling myself like, hey, the clock starts over every day. So like what you did yesterday, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter today. Like sure, you're compounding on the work that you've done, but especially again, in business and social media, stuff is always changing. And so if you're not adapting and you're not agile and you're not staying on top of yourself and your own shit, and just like in relationships, how you have to like continue doing the things that got you your partner to keep them, same thing in business, same thing in fitness. It's like you've got to keep doing the same things, and the same things is probably more like conceptually versus the exact same things. But like you have to keep that drive and that grit and that determination, and whatever it is that got you to where you are, not only do you have to keep that, you have to make it bigger. Because especially like I think of too kind of like the stuff that we're trying to do, whether it's in fitness or in business, and there's so many parallels, is it's like a pyramid where like the bottom is really broad and the top is really narrow. And it's almost like to get up to those narrower levels, so higher up the pyramid, the effort has to be that much more because there's that much less space up there, because so fewer people are going there. So you almost have to like 10x your effort to get to that top little spot from the one right below it. And again, like that might seem like it's unfair, but that's just like the game. Like we just talked about, that's just the game. And you can either like bitch and moan about it, which I definitely do sometimes, or you can like get to work and you can tap out at any time. You can be like, I don't want to play this game anymore. But I'm like, well, I am unemployable since I've been self-employed since I was 20. So unfortunately, I must succeed.
I cannot imagine trying to like apply for a job right now. They'd be like, what are your skills? I was like, I can post on Instagram. No, obviously we have more skills than that. But I mean, that's a funny thing because we both have been creating content for almost a decade and like consistently creating content for a decade and good content for a decade. Not just like, oh, I post every once in a while. It's like, I know for the two of us, we have both been on our shit on Instagram. We both have been consistent with the podcast. We both have been consistent on YouTube, whether it's like for ourselves or for other things. Like we have consistently been putting in the effort on different platforms, learning about them, while also like, I think this is very important of we aren't content creators. Like we do create content and we are content creators, but how we first are able to like describe ourselves or as business owners or as CEOs. And then kind of everything else flies from that. And so that's also something where like we spend all of that time on content and that's not even like our main gist. And it would be so easy. And trust me, I've fallen into this so many times of like, I have literally been consistently posting for 10 years on multiple platforms, showing up daily, literally in the public eye for all of this time while doing all of this thing behind the scenes, while being able to continue improving like my education, all of this. I deserve that everything is all good to go now. And like I've had that thought and I've wondered, and I truthfully have to dig into myself and I'll go a few different directions of either one, I'll remind myself this is where everyone else stops. Like whenever I'm like, this is so hard and I want to stop, I'm like, this is where everyone else stops. This is why there's only so many people at the top, because this is where it's too hard and this is where people fall off. And that always is like that competitive edge of me of like, but it's not going to be me. I'm going to go a little bit further until the next time where I'm like, this is where everyone else stops, but not me.
Right. And fueled by spite.
Literally.
That's it.
Literally. I discovered spite. So I'm in a great spot right now.
So unfortunately, I will be succeeding.
I will be succeeding purely because someone told me I couldn't in 5th grade.
Right.
But
Right.
that's
purely because I will not lose.
Yes.
Sorry.
I just am not a loser, obviously. And then the second thing that I'll do is I will reflect and ask myself, is that the best that you can do? And some people might look at that of like, oh, well, like you're just pushing yourself, you're perpetuating grind culture. That's not what I'm doing. Specifically, even just talking into content, I've been like, I've posted really good, helpful, educational, good content for 10 years. And then I ask myself, but is that the best you can do? And it's like, no, there's another level. There's stuff that I'm not doing. I'm kind of doing good enough to be able to get this out. And that's like, oh, so your effort wasn't actually meeting your expectation. You were just putting in effort and thinking that that was going to result in your expectation, but your effort has to match your expectation. And that's always like a nice little come to Jesus moment with myself of like, oh shit, like you think you thought, bitch, but like you actually need to work harder or smarter or whatever it is. Like, again, it's not just about grinding more. Like sometimes it is, but not always. It truly is sometimes about just recognizing, was this the best quality that I could do? Could I have gone about this in a different way to get this outcome? Like, am I really taking all of these things into consideration here?
Absolutely. Well, 2 little things on that. First off, I just want to, like, on a public platform, give you your flowers because for those of you that don't know, Sue B is not only one of the kindest people you'll ever meet, she also has unmatched work ethic. Like, I shit you not, there are days when I'm literally like, what would Sue do? Or just like, I think about like all of the stuff that you and Alex are doing and like in a healthy competitive way. I'm like, okay, I have to keep my shit together because these are my friends. And like, I see all the things that they're doing and like, it's not in like a pressured way or anything like that, but it's just in a truly like inspirational way of like, okay, bitch, like you've got it, like keep doing it. Like they're doing it, you can do it too kind of a thing. So like there are probably a lot of people that look at somebody like you and just how successful PD is and like all of the stuff that you guys are doing and your beautiful home and all of that stuff and would take that like must be nice lens, which is one of my least favorite fucking things on the planet and not realize that you are one of the most, and Alex too, just like devoted people to life. And I think people really need to like, I hope they know that and understand it. And it would be hard to know that without like knowing you. But you guys truly are 2 of the hardest workers in any room that you're in, which is one of my favorite things about you guys beyond just the fact that you guys are great. But truly like.
Thank you. This might turn into just like a compliment episode because, you know, but I mean, I literally specifically, again, talking about content, like you're someone who very much so inspires me to like level up within that and not just being like, this is good enough within what I'm doing. And you're someone that we've talked about this a lot within our friendship, but it's just, we've gone through so many phases through the decade of knowing each other. And it would be very easy to like fall apart from each other, to fall off. And we've obviously had different friends along the way that have fallen off and not been the best fit for us. But I think that's something that's really special within our friendship is that first, we're always cheering for each other. And I think that goes a long way, but it's also giving the person the space to evolve, to be able to get to that. And that's something I've always admired about you is like how committed you are to yourself and like being you instead of trying to be what other people want you to be. And then again, like the literal work ethic that you put into everything and then how beautiful it looks on top of it, then I'm like, okay, I can make my things a little bit more beautiful than instead of just like putting it out altogether. But it's something where Alex and I talk a lot just about you and how much you've accomplished and just how much, I mean, I still, I know I started this saying like I was your fangirl, but like I'm still your fangirl for all intents and purposes. I still look up to you. That's why I feel like you're older than me is because I do look up to you. But just one note about like the comparison is that I'm a big believer that like comparison is not the thief of joy, but judging yourself from that is. And so I use comparison a ton to when it comes to like inspiration and motivation is looking at what other people are doing and being like, okay, I want to match that. And it's something where for multiple people in my life, like I'm glad that I'm not the most successful person in my life. Like I don't want to be. You never want to be like the smartest person in the room or all of that. But I think like having people like you and a multitude of our other friends around like just continues to push me to level up because I'm like, there's room at the top as long as we all fight to get there. Like, it's not the fact that like, oh, only one of us can make it. It's literally like we can all make it, but we all still have to put in the effort to get there. So it's kind of like this constant, like, competitiveness, but in such a positive way of not like, I'm going to take you down, but it's like, I'm going to rise up to your level, which I think is just so positive.
No, I love it a lot. And first off, thank you. I received that with so much love. But yeah, I think it's so important. And I think this is something that like women don't maybe get as much as men because we're not as active in sports, but like competition is healthy if it's healthy. And so if you're around other people, this is literally, it's not just a fun phrase, you're the 5 people you're around the most. Like it's actually like grounded in kind of neurobiology and all that stuff. Like you become like the people you're around. But like just at a base level, if you're not inspired to do and be better by the people in your life, like what are you doing? And so like I want to be around people where I'm like, oh, this is showing me, like this person is showing me maybe a blind spot or an area where I can be better or an area where I can maybe like be gentler with myself or something that improves me. I think that's what we're all supposed to do with each other. And I think especially in kind of like the context of how we live our lives and probably how a lot of the people that listen to this podcast live their lives, whether they run businesses or they're just trying to like pursue personal excellence. You know, you talked about like not making it about hustle culture earlier. And I agree with that. And also, I feel like we've lost the art of hustle. And like, it's not always a bad thing. And the reality of it is, it's kind of like when you see people that are, whether they're like naturally skinny or lean or whatever, and they're telling people like, oh, you can eat whatever you want and look however you want. It's like, that's not true. And so listening to people be like, oh, well, you can just make millions of dollars and like
for 30
sit on
minutes
your
a
ass. I'm like, I'm
day.
sorry, that's not real. That's not real. And like, you have to be able to accept like, okay, cool. If you reach a ceiling and what you want is, it goes beyond the requirements to get that, go beyond your ceiling, then you have to accept, okay, I don't actually want that thing because I don't want to do the things and become the person that would have those things, right? So like when you hit your own personal ceilings, you can either ask like, okay, do I want to expand my capacity or am I just going to chill here? And like some people do just want to be average and live an average life and like, do you, boo, have so much fun. But for the people that don't, and for the people kind of like us that are always asking like, how could I have done this better? How could I be better? How could I do more? How could I make more? How could I earn more? How could I like continue growing and evolving? Like, sure, there's always a shadow side to that of like never feeling satisfied or never acknowledging your accomplishments or whatever. And we can work on that. But I think it is okay to be the kind of person that always wants more. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And people that don't want that just don't understand it, just like how I don't understand not wanting more. And that's cool.
Yeah. And I think that like with talking about the people that are either genetically just thin and they can eat whatever they want, or kind of the flip side of like someone who's been training for years and years in the gym and then switch to Pilates and then tell everyone you just need to Pilates to look this way. It's like, no, it's actually you built this foundation from doing it a certain way and then we're able to get to this. Or someone who's tracked macros for 10 years and then moves to intuitive eating and says you can actually maintain your physique if you just do these things. It's like you're not looking at the 10 years that came before that. Or again, within business, of the people who are like, I've now gotten this to this and I have a 4-hour workday. It was not always a 4-hour workday. And I think that's where people move that it's so much because it's like, it's trends. You need to hook people. You need to get people excited. Like, I understand that that's a part of it, but we need to be better consumers in that, of really being able to see through it, of like, what actually got that person there. And I always kind of go between of like, I don't want it to seem of like, I'm just always talking about how hard I work to other people, because I also want them to realize like there are flexibilities with it, but it's like this hard conundrum of like, yeah, it takes hard work. Like that's just it. It's going to take some long hours. It's going to take years. Like you could look at my life and be like, oh, that's kind of sad how you maybe don't go out as much with friends, or you're not going out to the bars, or you're not doing all of these things. And it's like, the sooner you realize life is all about trade-offs, the better your life gets, because it is a trade-off that I purposely and very consciously made. I made the trade-off because I knew what I wanted in the end. What I actually want, like, yes, would I like to work a little bit? Yes. Less. Yes. And I'm currently working on that. Like I said, I'm working on saying no and not putting myself in the position. But we need to look at, if I'm wanting to build this business that has this type of impact on people, I know that that is going to take a trade-off. And that might be a high calorie treat. It might be going on a trip. It might be going and doing something or ending the night a little bit earlier. But I'm willing for the trade-off to get what I really want of so much financial security as well as the impact that I'm wanting to leave on people. So when people are getting into that place of like, well, this is what I want right now, I'm thinking of maybe I don't want to do this thing right now, but it's going to bring me to what I actually want. And so many people get so caught up in that instant gratification of this is what I want right now that they're not thinking about what they actually want, or they're still thinking about it, but then they're like, why is it not coming to me? And it's like, you chose comfort in the moment time and time and time again. And I don't care how cheesy it is or how much of a cliche, but literally growth comes outside of your comfort zone. It's a reason it's a cliche because it's the freaking truth. Like that is true of you're not going to be comfortable every single second. And it might feel like your essence is being pulled apart, but it will make you better and it will improve you. And it will also improve your capacity for stress, where I know that you likely get the question, I know I do, of like, how do you handle doing so much? How do you have so much on your plate? How do you get so much done in a day? Part of it's time management, efficiency, having the right team in place, like all of that. But it's also, I have fine-tuned my capacity for stress by putting myself under more stress. Like, and obviously there's a balance to that. Like, I'm not saying just put yourself under immense stress and immediately you're able to handle everything. Like, there's a lot of work that went into being able to manage, mitigate that stress and handle that stress to push my body. But let's talk about literally lifting. What are we doing? We are stressing our bodies into change. We are literally breaking apart our muscles to build them back stronger and better. So yeah, sometimes it might feel like your essence is being broken in half, but it's to build back stronger and better.
Yes. Oh, and something too, like I would love if we could make effort cool again.
Yeah.
Like I think so much of what happens, which is like why I'm so glad you were like, I don't want to just make it look like I work hard, but like I do. And I think we've like gotten into this thing. Like I went down a rabbit hole in my own mind one night because there's this thing that happens on like TikTok now or like with dances or whatever, where it's like people are so used to seeing people do like very casual dancing. It's very low key, very low effort, that when they see a dancer going full out, they're like, oh, she's doing too much. And I'm like, oh no, this is actually a technically sound dancer doing a full out routine. You just don't know what that looks like because you're so used to like the kind of subdued, pared back, desaturated version of something being what's celebrated. And what people also don't realize is the people that are truly talented, like you look at like a LeBron James or somebody like that makes something excellent look effortless. The reason it looks effortless is because of the amount of effort that they've put in for such a long time. And so we've made trying hard. It's like an insult. Like, oh my God, what a try hard. Like that kind of thing. Like, no, trying hard is how you fucking do stuff. And I love when people try hard. I love when people just try. And so there's so many people that, oh, well, like I gave this, like a shrug of an effort and I didn't get what I wanted. It must not be meant for me. It's like, no, bitch, you didn't even try. You didn't even try. Like, and literally. So just this idea that it's cringy or weird or like, ew, to put in effort and to be seen putting in effort to something like fat loss instead of just being naturally skinny, or putting effort into your appearance instead of just looking flawless, rolling out of bed, or putting effort into your business versus just money flowing to you from the sky, whatever, and having that be bad. I think that's so damaging for people that want to do anything, because again, it goes back to just like the misconception of what it actually takes to do or be or have something. It typically takes a lot more effort, especially now, than people think, because our perception of effort has become so distorted because it's not trendy to try.
Yeah, I mean, just we can drop the mic right there because that's all I have to say. I did make a note so I could send you a clip from it's Schultz on it, and I think it's on Tim Dillon's podcast, but he's talking specifically about like we need to make trying cool again because it is so like trying is now cringe, and I don't understand that. It's like, why is trying and putting an effort and doing something cringe? Like I don't get that at all. And thankfully, like I'm in my own bubble enough to like really not care about other people's opinions, or maybe I literally just don't care, period, to be able to just like put in the effort for what I think. Because putting in 10 years, like, I mean, I'm so sure that you've had this, but we still have people being like, how's that little business of yours or whatever? And, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But like I am my business's biggest fan. Like literally no one can know me and not know about PD. I talk about it nonstop. I talk about what we do. I talk about the effort I put into it. I talk about the podcast. I talk about the content we make. I talk about it. I am about it. I'm not embarrassed for the effort that I put in. I would be embarrassed if I wasn't putting that effort in and then hoping that everything was going to come to fruition. And it's just like trying should be cool. And so often people will also like barely try and then give up. And then it's just like, oh, I can't act like I'm trying too hard because it should have just came to me. And it's like, no, literally no. You're not entitled to any of that. You just have to work hard and you have to, be a kind person. And well, I guess you technically don't have to be a kind person, but you do have to work hard. If you are. It's just better if you're also kind along the way.
Yes. And as one little like capstone to that whole thing, I think part of why it's become so trendy is because if you are never seen trying, then you never have to deal with the embarrassment or shame of when you fail. So people are like, well, if they never see me try, then they'll never see me fail, but they'll never see you win either. So you just lose either way.
That was literally the epitome of me for 20 years. Was like, I didn't want to try hard enough for other people to see me fail. And then I just said, fuck it.
I just said, fuck it. And now I think you're in a pretty good spot, if I do say so myself.
I'm in a much better spot than I was 10 years ago by just going all in, where I know for a fact, like you were made fun of for starting your YouTube. The first 100%. YouTube video that I posted, if you go back, it's not on the physique development page, but on like my personal YouTube page, it was sent in a group chat with my roommates and my best friends at the time, making fun of me for thinking that I could quote unquote be a fitness influencer. Like people are going to talk, people are going to do things, but if you let that keep you from reaching what you truly want in life and from putting in effort, then like they've won. Like again, you're not petty enough at this point. You don't have enough spite in your system that you're just letting other people win time and time again.
More spite.
You need more spite. Just put a little bit more spite and you'll be good to go.
And I've never seen a do nothing bitch do something. So the only people that are talking shit are the people that aren't doing anything.
Yeah. And I've never seen a hater with a life that I would trade. So
facts. Or an outfit that I would want to be wearing. So
no, so true. So true.
Hot girls don't hate.
And, keeping track of other people's wins don't help you to win more as well. So I think people confuse that.
Are you sick and tired of your glutes not growing? Turning around in the mirror and seeing a board for a booty? I've been coaching for nearly a decade, helping thousands of women reach their goals. The most common goal? Grow my glutes. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s able to grow their glutes with the guidance of my training programs. And for all this time, I've kept my best glute growth secrets only for my one-on-one clients. And that changes today. We just released our 12-week glute growth program in the PD training app. It is a 4-day program with exercise and volume adjustments every 3 weeks. You can easily access the program through our app and track every single workout. Each exercise will have a detailed video teaching you exactly how to perform each and every movement. And guess what? I am no longer gatekeeping. I'm sharing every single one of my best glute growth secrets inside this program because you are awesome and I want you to have this program. I'm going to give you $25 off, making it a fraction of what you spent at Starbucks this past month. Use code POD. The link to purchase will be in the description. Now let's get back to the show.
Speaking of outfits and looking cool, what is the makeup brand that you have been wearing the most or the most infatuated with recently?
Oh my God, it has to be Viev. So my emotional support content creator is a Scottish creator named Jamie Genevieve, and she's a makeup artist. And she, I think it was in 2020, released her own brand called Viev. I have purchased nearly every single product from the line. Probably favorite would be their complexion balm. It's a nice, it's not a tinted moisturizer. It's not a foundation. It's like a nice in-between. It's very buildable. It's really nice. But honestly, I'll even just use their concealers as like my full face situation and their lip glow. So like their lip oils. It's the perfect, not sticky, not oily lip product and their setting spray. Pretty much everything. But those, I would say, are my 3 top favorite products from them. They haven't broken me out. I get compliments, especially on the balm. Whenever I wear it, people are like, oh my God, what's on your skin? And I'm like, it's Viev. So that is 100%. As far as like a brand that I've purchased the most products from, that would be it.
Gotcha. I am on a say kick right now, SAIE.
Ooh.
But I realized as I was actually doing my makeup today, I was like, oh, that's say, that's say, that's say, as I
Yep.
went. But I have been wanting to try that brand because I've seen you post about it, and I just need to pull the trigger and add all to cart is what I
I
need to
think you
do
should.
there.
I think you should.
So what has been the clothing company, not gym wear, but clothing company that you have been shopping the most at recently?
Ooh. See, that's such a good question, especially for non-gym wear because I purchase so many different
Different
types of
places.
regular clothing, so
Mhm.
it's definitely a challenging question. I would say the one that I go to the most consistently would be Kith because
Mhm.
I'm really learning, and I know you love a Kith moment, so
We
we're
love a
right
Kith
here
moment.
on this. But I'm really learning, especially like going into 30. Like I've always had a decent idea of my personal style, but like getting super clear on it closer to 30, like I love streetwear. And so they have some of just like my favorite cool pieces, high quality. There's a good variety in there too. Like you're not, because they have different brands that they sell there too. So I would say, and it's one of those ones because Chris is just naturally an XL and I like wearing things oversized from a place like Kith. It's like, oh, if I buy this sweatshirt, it's like, it's our
Mhm.
sweatshirt now.
Yes.
So I'm actually saving us money
Oh,
because
yes.
it was free
Alex has just
because we're both
now
wearing it.
Alex has recently just accepted that we can like share clothes because it used to be like these are mine, those are yours. But he will the other day he was like, well, if you order that in this size, then we can both wear it. I was like, done. That is check. I'm
Mhm.
saving money. And we just got
Mhm.
hats because I am now adding hats to my wardrobe. I have always felt like I'm not a hat person,
Oh.
that it doesn't really fit my head. And I have just gotten into some ball caps recently, but I'm getting into more of like the bigger hats, not like full on trucker hats. I don't know what they're called, but we sat and he like got it fixed and I was like, honestly, this is going to add so much to like being able to look cool without doing too much. Like I think, and I think that you agree with this, one of the easiest ways to look more put together without like doing a ton of extra is having some jewelry on and literally just
Literally me
having
with
some
all of
base
mine
jewelry. Like, and I'm someone
stuff.
who I can't wear like a lot of rings because my fingers swell and then I just can't handle it and I just can't do it. So like I don't wear rings, but like I have 2 permanent bracelets on and then I have like a few necklaces that I always like rotate between. And then I have some like very lightweight earrings. So it's like, even if I don't want to wear anything, those are all things that feel like nothing, but it's such an easy way to look put together when you don't have your life together. And I feel like if you can look cool in a hat, like not just a baseball hat, but like a level up, that just like, again, you might have no makeup on, literally just rolled out of bed, but now people are like, that girl's cool. And so I'm very excited to add that to my wardrobe.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much because I do love hats, but I'm also like, I literally have, and I know you're going to laugh at this because you're very much so like, this is the one area where we're different. You're like, I'll work in like my like comfy clothes and I'll
Yeah.
like, sometimes I am more comfortable, but sometimes I'll like get ready for work. But I have a rule. It's literally like my personal presentation rule where I'm like, jewelry, brows, skincare. Like I have to do that.
Mhm.
Everything, no matter what, if I'm wearing a tracksuit or if I'm wearing an actual suit and heels and some shit, like I have to have my brows done. I have to have my skincare on and I have to have like my core jewelry, which is like these
Mhm.
earrings, like my thin little necklace and like a couple of my rings. It doesn't have to be this whole
Yeah.
situation. But when I tell you, this is like one of my favorite hacks, this and like a signature scent, it's
Mhm.
one of the most like snaps me into place things in
Mhm.
my day where I could be like, feeling, like a garbage troll. And then as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, she's arrived. We're
She has
here.
arrived. She's
We're
here.
doing it. So I fully support that. And I agree. When you have cool accessories, whether it's a hat or a bag or like a little scarf, I'm really trying to lean into like little
I'm
scarves
trying to
more.
get into scarves.
Vintage ones are the move.
Okay.
Vintage silk scarves. I've never found better ones than I've found at like vintage shops. Those are my
Okay.
favorite. Free People has a couple cool ones. But yeah, finding little ways where you can just add you to something. Because that's another thing too, is it's like your signature like accessories look. Then you can almost like cross over from more of like a streetwear to like a blazery type outfit or whatever. And it's still you because it has
Mhm.
that little touch
Base, yes.
of you in it.
I'm deciding right now in this moment that I am going to try harder when it comes to clothes and I'm going to make trying cool because I feel like clothes is the one thing where I've branched out and I've like started to get more into my style, but I feel like I'm not the level of cool to be able to pull off some things. But actually
You're
someone
so
on our
cool.
team just sent me an outfit. I'll send it to you because like, I think that you'll see the vision. But she sent that to me and she was like, I don't know why, but like this outfit just made me think of you. And I was like, this was the ultimate compliment because like this is the ultimate cool girl outfit. Like, and I just got to say, I know it's not going to mean anything to anyone on this podcast, but back in 2021, I think it was, Emily Duncan and Katie Hearn both told me that I was a cool girl. And that stuck with me.
You're one of the original cool girls.
That when I'm feeling sad, I'm like, you know what? They called me a cool girl.
I gotta keep going.
I gotta keep going.
Let me riff on this for like 30 seconds because I do believe, and I mean this in the highest regard. And obviously you've been around longer than her, but I was thinking about this the other day. One of my favorite content creators is Christina Kirkman. Mm-hmm. And your style gives Christina Kirkman to me,
wow.
Which I think Christina Kirkman is cool as shit. And so like,
I think she's so
part
cool.
of my, part of my cool girl thesis is like, it's what you know somebody is a cool girl when they could be wearing the most basic shit and you're like, I want the link to everything. Mm-hmm. And every time I see you, whether you're in like a flannel or like your basketball shorts or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, she looks so cool. And it's not just like, oh, like I want the link to it. It's also like my brain, when I see somebody that has good personal style, I'm just nodding because I don't even have to know the person. And I'm like, that's them.
Yeah.
This is them. And I know it. And obviously I know you, so I know that a little more deeply. But like, you're one of the original cool girls. I stand on business. I will say that with my whole chest. It's still true to this day, year of our Lord 2025.
Wow.
So keep
when an OG cool girl calls you an OG cool girl, that's just when you know you've made it. You're all good to go. Because we're set. So now athletic wear, what would you say is the brand that you buy or wear the most?
It is 100% Tala. They get pretty much all of my disposable income. All of it. All of it. And I love to give props where it's due and like acknowledge growth of like people or companies or whatever. Back, I want to say in like 2020, when it was a super young brand, I bought a pair of their seamless leggings, hated them, was like, I'm never buying from this place again. And then something in me in probably like late 2023, I was like, I saw like maybe a really cute launch that they had or something. And I was like, I kind of want to try this again. And ever since, I have been purchasing so much. And I think one of the things that I love the most about it, I've never been like super into the like dark sport gym person aesthetic. Like it's just not like my vibe. And so, and it's not because anything's wrong with it, but like, I love when I look at a company, and obviously it's a female owned and operated company. I just love when you can tell that something was made for women by women. And it's just in like the little details and like the way that a jacket is cut or the way that the straps are or the way that the logoing is like subtle but cute or whatever. Just like when you can tell that, again, something was made for women by women. I really love that. I love it a lot.
I'll have to give them another chance because it was sometime in like 2021 that I bought something from them and I like did not like it. And then I haven't bought from them again just because I, got to be responsible and not just buy things you don't like.
Right.
But now this might be the push.
Give it
that definitely might be the push to just get some more stuff and rev it up. I feel like I wear like the same things. Like I'm so not in launch culture because like I'm not trying to buy the same fitness stuff all over again that I like wear the same few outfits. And it's funny because I bet some people think like, oh, she's posting a picture from like 2 months ago. And I'm like, no, it's just the same outfit.
This was in fact today.
And also if I know that worked before, like I'll just put it on instead of being like, I'll do a different bra with it or whatever. I'm like, oh, I think that this looked really good with this pink bra. And it's like, oh, you wore that exact outfit, like maybe even last week, but here we are again.
I do that too. That's like one of my goals is to wear more of my closet because I know that I have so much. And then I'm like, okay, cool. If we like go through the whole closet rotation and you don't wear this thing, get rid of it. But I get so in my like outfit hyperfixation that I will in fact wear an item of clothing or an outfit on repeat to death.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, I have so many other things that
and
I should
then it's
wear.
bad because I'm making content or I'm on the podcast, I'm like, even if I haven't worn this for 2 weeks, it looks like I just wore it yesterday because that's what you saw me posting the other day.
Yep.
As I came together. But I was actually thinking because I recently cleared out everything from my closet and then put in like the basics that I know that I wear all the time. Because I wasn't like, oh, I'll just kind of take some stuff out and try to clean. I was like, everything needs to go. And I put it in a different room. And what I was thinking was doing a series, but I just haven't committed to it, of like trying to put an outfit together for like each piece and then like trying to wear it instead of just being like, we'll just throw it, not throw it all away. I'd obviously give it away or donate it, but you know what I'm saying, like burn the house down type of thing. So I was thinking of doing that, and that might be helpful for my creativity, but I don't want to, again, commit to too much. I can't say yes to too much because I've already said yes to a few too many things. So got to be smart on it. But what type of music do you listen to while you are training?
Ooh, it's such a mixed bag. It's such a mixed bag. It's frightening. I've actually been listening to podcasts a lot more while I train lately because I'm like, oh, this is probably the only time during my day I'm going to listen to a podcast. But I will say, leading into my 30th, the Spotify playlist, Nicki Minaj's Hardest Verses, is on repeat.
On repeat.
And it never fails me. It never fails me. I love Nicki. She is one of my favorites, but I will literally listen to anything from like Nicki Minaj to like early 2000s emo music to like if there's a new Bon Iver album, like the one that just came out, I'm like, oh, listen to that. This sounds like something that I think far too deeply about, but something that I used to do a lot of, like if I was having maybe like a low energy day going into a training session, I'd be like, I need to listen to my intense music so I can be intense. And now I'm just like, maybe I'll just listen to like Maroon 5 or like something a little lighter just to like get myself out of that headspace. So definitely a very, very, very mixed bag because I have chaotic musical tastes.
We're just multifaceted women. Like, what can I say? God forbid we have a hobby.
Like literally, actually, it was so funny. My day list name this morning, I screenshotted it because I was like, bro, are you good? But it was quite literally Sensational Polar Bear Tuesday early morning. I'm like, polar bear?
Yeah, that's, you're
sorry?
right. That's
What does
how
that
I wanted
mean?
to feel on a Tuesday morning, like a sensational polar bear.
And it was like, it had like the Drake and Party Next Door new stuff on there. I'm like, in what world? I don't know where your AI came up with this, but okay. It's giving Luna, polar bear.
What would you say some of your favorite snacks are, since we're talking about snicky snacks earlier? What are your favorite snacks right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I actually need you to try these chips. The Siete, I want the sous vide rating on them. They're the Siete Maize street corn chips.
Okay.
So I love elotes. So Chris actually even said like they're his new favorite chip, which I was like, whoa, that's big. That's big. He's a big snack guy, big chip guy. So for him to be like, this is my new favorite, I was like, okay, cool. Wow, great. So definitely those. This sounds a little random perhaps, but doing chopped strawberries, pistachios, and dark chocolate has been really nice.
Random. Sounds delicious. Thank you
It's
so
delightful
much.
And it feels like a little bougie. I'm like, oh, I feel
pistachios honestly are
fancy.
So underrated.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really, really are. And like pistachio iced coffee, so good.
When we
pistachio
were in Italy,
matcha,
I literally everything that could be pistachio, I had. I literally, if it said pistachio on the menu, I said, give me one.
You're like,
and it was
that's for me.
Everywhere. They even had like Oreos that were like pistachio flavored. I was like, give me literally everything pistachio. Every time I got gelato, pistachio. And my family was like, don't you want to try another flavor? And I was like, America's got other flavors. They don't got pistachio like this. They don't got the pistache like they do over in Italy. They had these pistachio like espresso shot situations. I was just like, this is it. Like I love pistachios and I feel like they are vastly underrated and so good. Have you ever had the honey roasted pistachios? Those are honestly dangerous.
I have not, but that sounds like perfection because I am a very salty sweet person. Like I don't really want just sweet things anymore. It's got to have a little salty in it. So that sounds...
Oh, they are dangerous. I'm trying to think what brand, just like the pistachio brand.
Just like the green bag. I'm thinking like the green bag with like the black
with the black. That's literally the brand from them.
Okay, great.
But they have a honey roasted one, and it is chef's kiss. It's honestly so dangerous because we got them on a plane once, and it was like in like a bigger bag, and like I demolished it without even thinking, and then I like looked back, and I was like. Didn't need to see that nutrition label.
Like,
I just
half my fat for the day on
plain
the plane.
Snacks don't count. Obviously, that's a different type of metric system that they use up in the air. I'm
plane
not,
and road trip snacks.
Yeah.
I'm going to lump those two together.
I'm not privy
Transit
to it.
Snack, really.
How am I supposed to understand how they do things in the sky? That's someone else's business. I mean, honestly, air traffic control is taking care of that. I should not concern myself with what they're doing. I should let them do their job. They're letting me do my job. Yeah, let the big boys handle it. Slay. What's your non-negotiable outside of the gym that helps everything else stay in check?
Oh, I refuse to look at my phone the first 30 minutes of my day. Like I firmly believe that for as much time as I spend on this little box in my hand, that if I can't have the first 30 minutes of my day without it, I am doing something so wrong. And it just helps me like because especially too, it's like such a dopamine habit that like if I start
Oh,
my day
yeah.
doing that, I will reach for it even more
So
and more and more
much.
throughout my day. So just having like that first 30 to 60 minutes of my day to like ease into the day, do some breathing, read a book, drink my little coffee without just like all of the noise on this thing coming through, 100%.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. There's even research that talks about like if you start your day with movement, how you're so much more willing to move throughout the day. And it's just also the same with so many other things. And especially with the dopamine hit. And most people are literally looking at their phone right before they go to bed, scrolling on TikTok or whatever. And then they immediately get up and concern themselves with what everyone else is doing. Like I've realized there was a day that I like woke up and I normally don't go on my phone first thing in the morning, but I don't recall why I got into it. I first was like so sucked into my phone that day and I felt like such shit about myself. And like, again, normally I don't like use comparison as a way to look at things, but it wasn't even like just conscious comparison. It was so subconscious of just like getting stuck in the scrolling and then how I felt about myself throughout the day. And I just kind of felt like apathetic about so many things. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this what people are experiencing all the time? Like it was a huge moment of like, this is why I don't do this. Like it really does impact. But when you're so used to it, you've like normalized how that feels. And so I would challenge anyone who is used to like being on your phone right before bed or right when you wake up to challenge yourself not to first, because if it feels near impossible to you, then that's a sign in and of itself. But it's also just a good practice to have in place of not starting your day immediately with also like notifications right off the bat or checking social media and getting into it. It's just a lot.
Before you've even checked in with yourself to be like, how does my body feel today? Like, let me look at my phone. Absolutely not.
And just think about not only the dopamine hit, but just like how much your heart rate and stuff can just start to like rev up from being on it. It's absolutely insane. But I know we've been here for a while and I know you and I could just yap about a ton, but I will wrap it up with just the last few questions of what is your biggest gym ick right now?
Ooh, this might be a tough one. It's so funny. I'm so like blinders on when I'm at the gym. I'm completely unaware that there's not like in a like I'm spatially unaware, but like I forget that there's other people around because I'm like, I'm just going. What is my gym ick? I feel like, and this is more of maybe like a whole life thing, but like if I'm just like existing and like you're walking past me and I just like acknowledge that you exist and like smile or whatever, and people are so just like devoted to never like making eye contact or acknowledging another person exists and you're just like trying to like share space. It's not necessarily an ick, but it's just like, I was just trying to be nice and acknowledge that you're a human on the planet also. It's cool. No worries.
Cool.
And obviously not
I'll
everybody
just go
wants
fuck
to like,
myself.
yeah, it's not, I don't really want to talk to you or anything like that. But yeah, I think we could all just like acknowledge each other a little bit more. I would say probably that. Yeah.
After directly, you just said, I don't even think about other people.
Well, it's so funny. I'll flip from like, and I think maybe I try and like overcompensate too, because like Chris has literally told me, he's like, I wouldn't have introduced myself to you if I saw you out in the wild because I just look mean. And so I think maybe I try and overcompensate where like, if somebody is like walking past me, I'll like smile. And then they're like, wait, what is this? She looked really mean before. But yeah, I do try and like, if somebody is like crossing my space, like almost go out of my way to be like, hi. But otherwise I am completely unaware.
Yes. Again, we can be both. Like,
right?
We don't have to choose one, either bitchy or nice. We can be both, okay?
Right?
Don't try
I can
to put
be a
us in a
bitch and
box.
a really nice person in 5 seconds flat.
Oh my gosh. And lastly, what makes you proud to call yourself a gym girl?
Ooh, what makes me proud to call myself a gym girl? I mean, honestly, for as much as like people on the outside want to be like, oh, people that are like into fitness and especially posting about it or just like stuck up and like vain people, I think it's actually like when you get to know people in a gym community, especially gym girls, we really are just there to be better. Like we really are just there to become better versions of ourselves, to get stronger, to feel more confident in our bodies. And like, especially, I think actually one of the things that I'm even more proud of is I've been lifting since I was 16 and I turned 30 next month. So that's a long time. And when I first started going to the gym, there were hardly any women on the gym floor, especially like not in the women's section. But now I go into the gym and I see honestly probably like an even distribution, maybe sometimes even more women in the gym than there are men. So I think that would actually be the biggest like why I'm proud to be a gym girl is just like the way that we as women have continued to show up and take up space in that environment when it's not necessarily one that, especially as kids, we were taught to be in. But now there's so many more women seeing what their potential for themselves is and like what they want for themselves is. Like, especially at our gym, there's girls that are like super jacked and like definitely like competitors, or they're like power lifters, or there's, you know, the girls that are just kind of like me where we're like, hey, I'm trying to be like really fit for life right now. And it's just like, we're honoring ourselves and what we want for ourselves. And yeah, showing up in a space and making that space our own when it maybe wasn't always.
Well, I love that so much because I do recall walking into my college gym and like no girls were on the weight floor. And it was me and one friend that were some of the first ones getting down there. And so I love that you brought that up because it is so powerful. And honestly, we're just so powerful as women.
Right.
And we rock so hard. So
I wouldn't trade being a girl for anything.
Honestly. I was about to say something, but I'll say it once we're done recording. It was about to just come out of my mouth, and I was like, that's not going to be on brand whatsoever. This isn't just me talking to a friend having a FaceTime. I'm actually, recording something for the brand right now. But, well, great spot to end. Thank you everyone for joining. I will have all of Emily's stuff linked down below. Share this with a friend you think would benefit from it, but we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.